A reading from the Gospel of Luke. On a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him. And the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man." And then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place, so that when the host comes to you, he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who invited him, "When you hold a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors, in case they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." I actually knew someone who did this banquet for his wedding reception, and his name was Jim Skirl. For those of you who didn't know Jim, he was the founder of Joseph of Arimathea Pallbearer Ministry and the Labra Ministry of going out and feeding the homeless around the Cleveland area. Although I heard about the wedding reception secondhand, essentially, there were a small group of friends and family invited, with the majority of them being his friends at the L'Arche community, which was his favorite group to be with. This was a community of people with handicaps and disabilities who he always preached about how they are humans made in the image of God, just like anyone else. If you ever got to be with Jim when he was with the L'Arche community, you'd see him light up more so than at any other time. You could see a twinkle in his eye when he was with them. So when we hear Jesus talking about humbling yourself by including the poor and destitute, Jim really lived that out every day, to the point that when he met the love of his life, he wanted to share the wedding reception with the L'Arche community. The more he humbled himself, the more and more he became in touch with God through Jesus. It changed him to the point that it seemed like there was a certain oneness that he had with Jesus. Even before he moved on to the next life, it was very clear to those around him that he wasn't just exalted in heaven, he was exalted on earth as well. It was as if the heavens and the earth merged together in his life. Furthermore, it didn't just change him, but it changed those around him as well. It was infectious and spread to many people based off of his example. The kingdom of heaven that he brought to earth grew more and more with each passing day. And all beginning with recognizing God, not by the wealthy and powerful, but by associating himself with the outcasts of society, and the homeless, those deceased people without family, and with the mentally disabled. It was a seed started by Jesus and sprouted through the life of Jim Skirl. So when you look at today's gospel, imagine how much your own life would change for the better if you even followed a portion of Jim's, and by extension Christ's, example by humbling yourself in service of others, especially the poor, disabled, and the dying.